Imagine dedicating months of your life to a project you truly believed in, only for it to be misunderstood and underappreciated by the world. That's exactly what happened to Josh Brolin with one of his films, a movie he thought was destined to be a massive hit. But here's where it gets controversial. Was the failure of this film due to poor execution, or was it simply ahead of its time? Let's dive into the story and see if you agree. If there's one thing Josh Brolin has been vocal about throughout his career, it's the stark contrast between his early struggles and his later successes. His journey can almost be split into two distinct chapters: life before 2007 and everything that came after. While his debut in the beloved 1985 classic The Goonies initially seemed like the start of something extraordinary, the years that followed were far from smooth sailing. In fact, they were downright rocky. By the mid-1990s, things had gotten so bleak for Brolin that he seriously considered leaving acting behind altogether. Instead, he pivoted to trading stocks full-time, a venture that proved surprisingly lucrative. For a while, walking away from Hollywood felt like a real possibility. However, just as he began contemplating life outside the spotlight, opportunities started trickling back in. Unfortunately, this resurgence in his acting career didn't last long, and by the mid-2000s, Brolin found himself once again stuck in a rut. But then, out of nowhere, came a lifeline in the form of the Coen brothers' masterpiece, No Country for Old Men. This gritty neo-western showcased Brolin's range as an actor, blending raw masculinity with moments of genuine vulnerability. Playing Llewellyn Moss, a small-time crook caught in a deadly game, Brolin delivered a performance that finally made audiences take notice. It wasn't just his portrayal in No Country for Old Men that turned heads. Within the same year, he starred in 3 other high-profile projects: Ridley Scott's crime epic American Gangster, Paul Haggis's military drama In the Valley of Ella, and Robert Rodriguez's zombie horror Planet Terror. Suddenly, Brolin went from being virtually unknown to becoming one of the most sought-after actors in Hollywood. Yet despite this whirlwind of success, there was one glaring disappointment that haunted him: Planet Terror. Released as part of the ambitious double feature Grindhouse alongside Quentin Tarantino's Death Proof, the film failed to resonate with critics or audiences. And this is the part most people miss. It wasn't necessarily the quality of the film itself, but rather how it was marketed and distributed that left Brolin frustrated. When reflecting on the failure of Grindhouse, Brolin opened up in an interview with Ain't It Cool News. "It kills me," he confessed, still visibly disappointed years later. "I don't understand, because I truly love that movie." He went on to discuss the decision to release the two halves of Grindhouse separately in international markets after its domestic flop, adding, "Maybe splitting them up was the smart move, but it kinda defeats the whole purpose, doesn't it? I wish I knew why it didn't work. To me, that was going to be a huge film," for Brolin. Working on Planet Terror was nothing short of exhilarating. The role of Doc Block, a menacing yet oddly charming doctor, allowed him to flex his acting muscles in new ways. Beyond the set, he bonded deeply with Rodriguez and Tarantino, immersing himself in late-night screenings of cult classics that inspired the Grindhouse aesthetic. According to Brolin, watching Tarantino passionately introduce obscure horror films was an experience unto itself. He'd stand up and give these rambling 30-minute speeches about zombie flicks, Brolin recalled fondly. "Robert recorded all of it. He loves capturing those moments. We'd sit there laughing our heads off." Over time, Brolin grew to appreciate the craftsmanship behind even the cheesiest low-budget films. "Tarantino knew every detail," he explained. "We'd watch these movies, and though they might seem ridiculous at first glance, you'd realize they were actually well-structured stories. They just didn't have much money to make them look polished." To Brolin, Grindhouse represented a loving homage to a specific era in filmmaking, an era defined by grit, gore, and unapologetic creativity. Sadly, not everyone shared his enthusiasm. Despite the passion poured into the project, Grindhouse struggled to find mainstream appeal. As Brolin put it, I guess it was just too niche, too geeky for the average viewer. Perhaps the problem lay in the fact that the cultural nostalgia driving the project wasn't universally relatable. Or maybe, as some argue, the concept was simply too ambitious for modern audiences accustomed to standalone blockbusters. So what do you think? Was Grindhouse a brilliant experiment that deserved more recognition? Or was it a case of style over substance? Did the studios mishandle its release? Or was the idea doomed from the start? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your take.